When My Bluebird Sings, the name of the album.
Yes.
Why is it called that?
Because that's the title of one of the songs, and
Well,
I kind of like the way
sense.
I kind of just like the way it feels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it leads to curiosity.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
What happens when the bluebird sings?
Yeah, what does happen? That's what
Well,
Zen. That's a,
I watch my blues, go away, and first thing in the morning,
that makes
fade
sense.
away. I watch my blues fade away.
All right. So this album is. Do you consider it kind of a departure?
Yes, I do.
You do, and you obviously that was intentional.
Yes, it was. It's been sort of a natural progression through the years that I use less and less people. The last CD was a duet CD. Mm-hmm. And I constantly have people ask me to do a CD by myself. They want to hear what I do. They don't want to hear the side people. And, there are pros and cons to that. I mean, you're totally naked, and you better like yourself because, man, it's a whole nother trip. But yeah. It's a good exercise. I highly recommend it because there are no tricks. You just get in there and do it. And yeah, it was a good experience.
Did you learn something about yourself while you were making this?
I learned that it's a lot more fun to play with other people. It's always good. It's really good to hear your music morph with a couple other pieces on it and what its potential is. But I also learned that if it's interesting enough to be able to be played by itself, it's a good test. It's a good thing.
Do you find yourself criticizing yourself more in a solo context?
Well, you can't cover yourself up.
Yeah.
At all. So I think I'm critical no matter what. I don't do 25 takes of anything. I mean, I do things in usually a relatively either 1 or 2 takes or sometimes 3 or 4 takes at the most, but I don't sit around and pulverize my music.
Why is that?
Because I feel like the best energy is at the front.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes it's just not going to get better.
Yeah. Good thing you never worked for Phil Spector.
That's right. Good thing Phil never worked with me.
So there's a mix of different kinds of tunes on this. What do you have in here?
Well, there are guitar instrumentals. There are lap slide instrumentals. Uh-huh. There are singing songs. The styles are kind of all over the map, and it's just basically. It's basically things that I've been working on that have come to the surface that I thought, well, I got all these songs, let me put them down and see what happens. And also people keep asking for more slide guitar pieces, so I did that on this.
Why do you think that is?
They don't get enough, I kind of use it as a side instrument, and nobody ever seems to get enough of it, so... and on my CDs, I've always had only 2 pieces, because it's hard to come up with tunes that work. So if you write them yourself,
what's the problem?
The problem is, you really want to know?
Yeah,
it's very technical.
That's okay.
Part of it has to do with the fact that you have an open chord, and that's usually your 1 chord in the song, and it just is very limiting because. In your open chord, you can do a lot, but you can't do as much when you go to another fret. It's just limiting. And also, so many songs just don't fit in. You have to keep the bass going if you're playing solo. It's a tough instrument to play solo. Kelly Joe Phelps did it pretty darn well. But you don't see a lot of other people, including Jerry Douglas and all these guys playing by themselves, because really helps to have some
Sandy Bull.
Sandy Bull. Did he play lap slide or was it bottleneck?
Good question.
That was a lot of years ago. That name I haven't heard since forever. Sandy Bull.
Yeah. So, did you write these songs? The songs that you play on here using the lap slide. Did you write them specifically for that instrument?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I couldn't play most of those things on a regular guitar.
Really?
Well, I could, but what's the point?
Yeah.
I really wanted material on the lap slide guitar.
So what are you talking about in this album?
What am I talking about?
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm trying to make any kind of statement. I feel like every CD I make is like, well, here's what I sounded like 2 months ago. Here's what I sounded like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, it's just current. It's trying to do an album every few years. It's trying to keep a record of what I do. And there's some good tunes on there. It's not, as I keep saying, it's not very bluesy, but a lot of it has a blues base to it.
Yeah, I would expect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to get rid of that. But yeah, it's all me.
Yeah. Do you find yourself tackling different subjects these days?
Lyrically?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some oddball little tunes in there. A song about hoarders.
Hoarders?
Hoarders. You haven't listened yet, have you?
Oh, yes. I have.
There's a song about hoarders. There's a song, that's kind of a funny tune. But everything else is relatively serious. When My Bluebird Sings. Let's see, what else is on it? So you got it over there.
Here.
Yeah, I went to New Orleans and Lafayette, Louisiana, and I wrote a song about that called Delta Dream. And, let's see.
Well, if you would pick a tune from this album that you would like people to preview below this screen here on the page,
yes,
what would it be?
It'd probably be the Bluebird song.
Yeah?
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I mean, you can easily sway me. But I tried to sort of write a traditional sounding piece, and that's kind of it. It's really kind of a 12-bar blues, but basic, but it's complicated in its technique. So,
will you be playing solo in the CD release gig?
Part of the show, I'll be playing solo, and part of the show I'll have some very special guests.
Okay.
Yeah. Mystery guests.
Mystery.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then I have to leave at 9 o'clock to board a flight for Alaska at 10:30. So.
PM?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's like yada da 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 da. So.
Shuffle off to Anchorage.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So.
Well, great album. Best of luck.
Thank you, Tom, so much.
I hope you make your plane.
I do too. Drop by, you'll find out if I do. Thank you.